Will the screen? No, well, yeah, that's better. That's better.
Okay.
There you go. That's much better. Much better. Good man, James. Okay, folks, it is now it's 8:30 on a Wednesday, and you are very more than welcome to your weekly dose of Mauls, Balls, and all. So, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to you all, depending on whereabouts in the world you are watching us from, and indeed what time you get to watch us from. We are live here on the Irish Rugby Banter Group. We are live on Ruck This, and we are also live on YouTube. Joining me this evening is our man in Glasgow. We have Mike Reedy. We are welcoming back. He's no stranger to the show. He hasn't been on in a while. We have John Peters, also sporting some sort of dead rat on his chin, but it's all for charity, I'm told, is James Grennan. Welcome back, James. He hasn't been on in a while. And also a regular Narky contributor. I call him Eamon Dunphy, and that's deserved. It's Dave Sheedy, ladies and gentlemen. Are we all well in ourselves, gentlemen, as I always ask before we kick off?
We're all great. Pure solid final.
Having the tea.
Excellent.
What have we got there, Dave?
Who's
What's
a bit
that?
of a morning, Michael?
Fucking morning, Michael.
There you go. Okay. John Peters, I want to come to you first, seeing as you haven't been with us for a while. James Grennan, I'll come to you afterwards, since you're following closely behind. John Peters, the game against Argentina, we barely won that. 22-19. It was 22-9 at half time. So it was, I suppose, we didn't score in the second half. We were dogged by the coach killer. You can have bad lineouts. You can have you cannot resource mauls and rucks and all this sort of thing. But the coach killer, the penalty count, again, up in mid teens. I think it was 13, 14 penalties.
13, yeah.
13 kills you. John Peters, your thoughts on that game?
I think we've gone very stale as a team. I mean, if I compare it to the other matches of the week, and particularly the England to South Africa and the Wales Australia, even then, was a bit more. There was a bit more visible. I think the problem is that for most of that team, dare I say it, that the Nienaber effect coming into being there, but the defensive setup that Leinster have at the moment has been having so many. It seems to be very hard to marry that on the international stage with the other players in the squad, notwithstanding that they make up the bulk of the team. Just think it just is something's not right there. I don't know whether it's whether they feel it's stale. It's something's not right in that squad, and I think it's the penalty killer. That's 13 penalties in each of the game will always lose you games. Now that seems to be acceptable at Leinster, so for sure. But it's not it shouldn't be acceptable at Ireland, and I think that we should be seeing. I'd be worried now for the next two games, particularly when the Australia is coming to town. I wouldn't previously autumn series was that I don't really worry about the Aussies. Now I'm genuinely worried about what Australia might do to the Irish team in a couple of weeks' time. I just think they're very stale. They need something's not right there. There's no attacking vim to them, and I think the lineouts. I think that the players need to take responsibility. I don't necessarily blame Paul O'Connell as much of that. We saw it against New Zealand, the Malays there in the middle of the line-out. The closing of the line-out happened against the Box of the World Cup. They did sort it out. They're not able to sort it out. There's something's not clicking there at the moment. I don't know whether if it's personnel, if it's some players. It just doesn't seem right, and it's. I can't get excited by this team at the moment. Sorry to say, they're not exciting.
Yeah. No, that's a fair point, John, and well made. Our colleague Danny Brosnan, why does James Grennan look like a wish Mick Hansen? Very good, Danny. Right, James Grennan, your thoughts on that game and what John just said there. It's hard to get excited about this team, the penalty count, the mistakes. What the hell's going on?
First of all, Danny, it's a Timo Mac Hansen. I'll have you know, not a wish. Wish is old school. I put up a post while I was significantly drunk after the match. I was watching the last 15 minutes of the match with one eye covered because I started drinking early. I put up a post and I said it didn't feel like a win, and I still think it didn't feel like a win, and I got a bit of a backlash. Some people didn't really get the point. It felt like we didn't score anything for 50 minutes of the game. That was unheard of. Like 2 seasons ago, we score regularly. The scoreboard kept ticking over. Dare I say, back in the Johnny Sexton's day, that wouldn't have happened. Yeah, in terms of getting excited about the game, the one thing that people didn't maybe get from my post was that Argentina are fifth in the world. They've beaten all the big names, and we all know that, and we've all responded to that. All the big names have been beaten in the last in recent months. They've beaten everyone, so they're deservedly fifth in the world. But that still doesn't get away from the fact that we didn't score for 50 minutes, and that's not good enough. It felt like we held on. And the other thing about that match, the try that Argentina scored that got chalked off, and they came back for the penalty on our 10-meter line, or on their 10-meter line, I should say. That the high tackle wasn't what led to the turnover, which led to the try. So we were very, very lucky that tackle was illegal and deemed a penalty. Otherwise, we would not have won that game. So that's what I meant by it didn't feel like a win. In terms of getting excited by the team, I fucking hope they're excited, because I'm going up next Saturday to the Fiji match. I expect to get value for money, and I hope there'll be a backlash. One of my colleagues at work was in the stand for the Argentinian game, and she said there was a couple of guys behind her who they had Irish accents, but they weren't supporting the Irish team. They were she didn't know what they were doing there, because they sat chatting very loud to each other the whole match and giving out yards, and at the end they had to turn around and tell them shut the fuck up, because they were wrecking everyone's head around them, and they were a waste of 2 tickets.
Were they Instagramming, James? Were they taking selfies and posting themselves on fucking Instagram?
No, these wouldn't have been the Instagram generation. No, these were more mature. You would expect her to have a bit more fucking cop on. But she said they were just irritating and annoying. And at one stage started shouting, "Come on, Argentina!" Like.
Right. Okay. Yeah. We all know those sort of heads. Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah. Okay. Dave Sheedy, your thoughts on this? The penalty count, the mistakes, the lack of scoring in the second half. Someone's giving me feedback. Someone. No. Go on, Dave Sheedy. Go ahead.
No. I think. Jeez, I can hear that feedback as well.
Yeah.
Look, I think two bad things that Irish people have, and we're never supposed to be born with, is expectation and money. Because we've been high up for so long, we're not giving credit to our opposition. Like, I watched the game just before we came on because I was out all day, and I got the stats. Like, that's a fucking tough game against Argentina. People are not highlighting this. Like, that, from what I saw in the stats, that's the first tier 1 nation game that both teams made over 200 tackles. Argentina made 204 and Ireland made 203. The only real issues I kind of got, because like when I first initially saw the game, I was kind of like James and John. I was kind of like, nothing to get excited about and this, that, and the other. But on the rewatch and looking at the stats, it's really the penalty count and the line out that's killing us. I mean, we were equal in scrum. We're equal in meters gained. We're equal more or less in possession and territory and stuff like that. Like, Argentina have lived off passion performances for a while, and passion only gets you so far. But now that they're so much better and they're bringing passion, like, they were fucking annihilating us in the collisions, like, and vice versa. Ireland were good as well, but it was just, I don't think people realize how hard of a game that actually was. Like, I mean, they're fifth in the world for a bloody good reason. They're a fast team, an organized team, and a bloody team that, wants to win every game. And I think Argentina would be very, very disappointed they didn't win that one. And I don't think it's a case that Ireland just got out of jail. That first 40, I thought we were brilliant. I mean, the try that, the not try that Tyke Byrne, the knock on over the line. Like, that's one of the best attacks we've had since we all had confidence in this team back in South Africa. The attack leading up to that was absolutely sublime. So it's there. All these elements are there. Ireland are well able to play like that. There's just been a few lapses in concentration. I think the idea that Lancaster's not with Leinster anymore is probably, due to it, because I mean Ireland kind of played that similar style. But I personally would like to see Ireland go back and have a 10-man style rugby in their armour. I'm not saying to play like that. I love the way they're playing. We all love the attack of rugby, but just it's good to have that in your arsenal that you can grind out a fucking win when you need to, when it gets really tight and really tough to grind out a win. I mean, there was 4 yellow cards in the game as well. Kind of says it all, But look, overall, I'm not massively disappointed with that based on stats and the rewatch and all. But the line-out is an issue. The penalty count is an issue. And I think in Ireland and the 4 provinces, there's a massive lack of leadership. I mean, we've a new captain in Leinster, a new captain in Connacht, a new captain in Munster, more or less. And who's the Ulster captain?
I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah,
Henderson.
Henderson. Right. So he'd be the most experienced. But there is a problem with leadership in Irish rugby teams. Whereas going back 10 years ago, every team kind of had a lot of leaders.
Had their go-to
men. Yeah, we're kind of lacking that at the minute. But I'm not overly worried. Anyway, I think I think we'll do very well against Fiji, and I think Australia will be another tough one. But I think we'll do it.
Ooh, I don't know. Anyway, okay. All right. Sorry, Mike. Before I come to you, last but not least, just a couple of comments. Dara Weston, evening all. Hey, Dara. I know you have a sinus issue and you couldn't be with us this evening. Catherine Keegan, it's a depleted Ireland squad playing these autumn internationals. Forwards-wise, we're missing Sheehan, Furlong, Conan. I think Conan might be available for the Fiji game, Catherine. Good to have you with us, Catherine and Dara. Dara Weston, there's a whole generation of Ireland fans and possibly players who are used to Ireland only winning. I can remember going to Lansdowne when we were the whipping boys of the Five Nations. I'd rather be exposed and humbled in the autumn series than suddenly finding our weaknesses at the 4-year competition that we don't like to talk about. Very true, Dara, yes. Mike Sheedy, Ireland teams are very poor so far. Last two... the last 2 games, kicked the ball away in both games, but when Ireland keeps the ball in hand, we always win old school rugby.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, Mike.
One thing I forgot to say, the kicking was poor as well.
Okay. Thanks, Dave. Always has to get that little icky bit in at the end of it.
Just so you know, Mike, I know what I'm doing.
All right. Okay. Jesus, shut. Off switch. Mike Reedy, go ahead. Your thoughts on the game.
Well, like the other lad said, our discipline problem is now what looks like an issue. Having said that, both of our games were refereed by Southern Hemisphere referees. Lads, there's a massive difference in the way they referee games towards what the Northern Hemisphere. Who's doing a Fiji game? Anybody know?
No,
Holly Davidson.
Holly Davidson. Sorry, Holly Davidson. I saw the post. Yeah, Holly Davidson. Sorry.
Yeah,
thanks, John.
Right. Well, do you know something? I'll be interested to see how she referees it, because there's no doubt our breakdown is not that fucking bad. We haven't gone from having the best ruck speed like in World Rugby to not being able to, and we weren't manning the breakdown either. We like the counter rucking by Argentina, and they did hit us hard. Like Dave said, by the way, they're a good side. They're a physical side. They're a very, very talented, skillful side as well. They're not the old Argentinian come and fucking rough you up and see what they can get out of it. But they have the full package now. And our line-out now is something that has to be ironed out, lads. And I agree with what John said. I think it's a player thing. I can't, they're all experienced players, these lads. They're not fucking in the team first week, that they should know. I mean, Kelleher has thrown the ball into him fucking umpteen million times, and I can't work it out. I just can't work it out. Now there could be something else John said there regarding the Nienaber effect, because it has affected Leinster, has affected Leinster's attack, and maybe it's fucking washed into the Irish team as well, because there's players our wingers were basically fucking a non-entity at the weekend's game, and that's surprising because they're two quality players. And I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see what team he picks first of all against Fiji now, and then where we go from there. But
I'd say Mike, there'll be about 4 or 5 changes. I see Murray Kinsella and the others, Rory O'Connor on Twitter, saying that Sam Prendergast will start at 10. Which I like. Sorry, say that again, Mike?
Because I'd like to see him get a go. He done well, lads, but I wouldn't be getting overexcited about his performance. We never scored, as James said, for 50 minutes, and that's not good enough, And I think Crowley's had a bit of a rough ride from the media and from everybody, really. I think he's played all right in both games.
That leads me on to our next topic. The keyboard warriors, gentlemen. I just want to quote James Grennan. I'll come to you first on this. The keyboard warriors. And Jerry Thornley, writing in today's Irish Times, brought up a very, and I agree with him, important point. And he says, all of the successes which this Irish team has enjoyed, hold on, let me just put it up here. What with a winning sequence of 17 and home winning runs of 19 has also served to raise expectations. We have become more than a little entitled. I like that word. And it doesn't suit us. James Grennan. Now, the other thing I'll add to this as well, we touched on this last week. Darragh Weston brought it up, and indeed he alluded to it there in his comment. People born after 2004, 2005, who were just kind of getting into this whole thing, never knew the lean times when in the 80s, the 90s, pre-pro era, when we won very little, James Grennan. So these keyboard warriors coming out after the New Zealand game, and Dave Sheedy, you said this, after the New Zealand game, they were having a go at Frawley, very unfairly in my book. After the Argentinian game, there was comments about Beelum, worst player on the pitch, the usual shot. You can imagine the comments. Mm-hmm. James Grennan, these keyboard warriors, do you think they're absolutely, they're a scourge. They're a fucking scourge because they don't understand the game, I think.
Unfortunately, it's the era we live in where anyone can publish their random thoughts at the touch of a button. They can just spew whatever comes into their tiny little mind at the time. As in terms of entitled, I'm from the era of Kieran Fitzgerald, and we're getting fucking hockeyed, and he comes out in the field and he roars and you didn't need to be a great lip reader to understand what he was saying. Where's your fucking pride? I remember that, and that's been blazing out of my brain.
I remember it well, yes.
Yeah, so and I've been a long-suffering Connacht supporter, as you all know. We have one bit of silverware in my lifetime, and to see the Ireland team, it has given me such pride and such enjoyment and such great happy days and everything. And a lot of these keyboard warriors are. I have a feeling most of them probably never played the game or never coached in the game or never contributed in the game in any way, shape, or form, and are, to use that old phrase, hurlers on the ditch. They're just fucking making noise, and they can spew out their comments and there's nothing there other than somebody else to come along and tell them they're a fucking idiot, like we do fairly regularly anyway. But there's nothing to stop them coming out and spewing whatever vile and vitriol towards any player. There's no player going out on a pitch that I know, from minis through to professionals, to Connacht, Leinster, Ulster, Munster, Ireland, the Lions, whoever. If you're putting on a jersey and you're going out and representing your club or your country, you're going to do the best you can, and there's nobody going out there to do a bad job. And for those guys, I've seen players coming off the field that had got dogs abuse online, and they're coming off and they're bruised and battered and bloodied, and they're going in and they're still coming around and they're making time for the fans and the kids that come to these games. So for anyone to come along and disrespect your players, say, they're fucking useless or this, that, and the other, I think it's just not on.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you, James. John Peters, your thoughts on the keyboard warriors and all this sort of shite that
I think it's just that because the power of technology has allowed people to express themselves. But I mean, as James said, sort of, I was remember the days in the 80s and the 90s, and whilst the keyboard warriors, we didn't have technology to come out. We still had people spouting vitriol about certain Irish players. I still remember the time when what's his name? Some of you remember Philip Danaher, the centre.
Yes.
The dog's abuse that he would get from journalists, not people didn't have the ability. So I think this notion about the keyboard warriors thing, it's been there for years. It's just that technology has allowed them to a wider audience. I think it's just unfortunate today. It's symptomatic that the success that the Irish team has had, that it's almost New Zealand-esque that if a player's not performing, that player is going to get. I guarantee you, down under in New Zealand, if there's a player not they feel is not pulling his weight, he's going to get a lot of critique on the social media, and I'm sure it's the same thing. Is it right? It's not right, because unless you make something, it's not fair, because at the end of the day, that player, his family sees it now, unfortunately, his girlfriend, whatever, his wife, they see it. As you say, these people, they don't know what they're doing, but there is no way you can stop it. The only way you can stop it is to just cut the internet. But as I say, sir, the vitriol, though, as that players have to suffer, goes back to
might
years.
do that fairly soon, though.
But it goes back. It's not a new phenomenon. It's just, I think that they are the ability to say it on a platform where thousands can read it. Is there. Whereas in the past, there was critique in the paper, and Jerry Thornley is one of those would have been there, or Rory O'Connor, or people that was. I think it was Peter O'Dwyer, who used to be in the Irish Times journalist, and some of the other ones there. They would
Neil Francis, John. Neil Francis.
He was another one. They would talk about, was it Pat Whelan of Munster, as a manager, joke of a manager. Danaher came in for reviews. I remember Elwood, and I remember two other ones which I thought very unfairly was Brian Smith, the Aussie that came in, and it was like, how dare they drop an Australian to play for Ireland? Remember him? And
vaguely, yeah.
And there was one guy as well, I remember, because he was a year behind me from a school. It was, for some of you might remember, Rob Saunders. He was scrum half for Ireland in the 91 World Cup, and he got such dog's abuse because he didn't put the ball into touch after Ireland were leading 16-15. And he suffered, or 15-12, and he suffered as a result of it. So it's wrong, but we're not going to change it. That's the unfortunate thing. You're not going to change it. They're always going to be there. That's just a regrettable thing.
True. Okay, thanks, John. Thanks. Excuse me. Thanks, James. Dave Sheedy, your thoughts on this subject? I know you have strong feelings about this.
No, I think we need to differentiate between what's a keyboard warrior and what someone is actually trying to give criticism. Not like nothing against the person of the player, but the way they performed. Like a few people have been saying that in the group, and I agree with them. We should be able to criticize performances out of love that they get better, looking at what they need to get better. It's the same in all sport. But Dave,
coming out with a sentence.
No, I'm getting to that.
Okay, go on.
My problem is the people who come out and just say like, "Oh, he's shit," or "He's a dick," or this or this. Explain why you think someone is. 2 weeks ago we were all here having a laugh at Billy Burns, and Mike was the only one kind of saying, "Look, I don't want to go down that road." Like, think of it from Billy Burns' point of view, right? Like, you're offered a contract for a year. Of course you're going to take it. You're going to try your best. Even if your best is not good enough for the level. Like, you're not going to, "Oh, sorry, lads, I'm off. I'm not good enough for this level." No, you're going to keep trying. Supporters and everything, we can find faults in Billy's game, but like, Billy's doing the best job he can, I'm sure. The problem is nowadays, Dennis around the corner has 68,000 followers and thinks he's hot shit. And then Dennis is jumping on fucking with a soccer attitude, talking this, that, and the other about a sport he hasn't got a clue of. Like, it's very similar to the Premiership. It kind of comes over because nowadays, if a coach has one bad season, he gets a sack, and kind of society has kind of gone that way now where, we want to win. I want a performance. Any team I support, I want a performance. Whether we win or lose, I want a performance I can be proud of. And during the 2000s with Munster, I was very proud. Even though we lost a lot of stuff, I was very proud, and my head was held high. And that's all we want. People are coming on just going, oh, shit, or he's this, that, and the other. Just ignore them, man. Or make fools out of them. Just ignore them, because it's clear they haven't got a bloody clue. But as the other lad said, this is going to happen regardless. It's happened before social media. And the only thing that'll be different between the print media is they're never going to insult a player for a bad performance. They're just going to talk about the performance.
Hello, Stephen Jones. Say hello.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay, I take it back about him, but the journalists that the lads are talking about, I personally am a big fan of Neil Francis, because I think he just calls it how he sees it, and I like someone like that. I like someone who's going to be honest. I don't want anyone who's going to be wishy-washy. And I remember Jerry Flannery and a few of the Munster players talking years ago that if you didn't perform on a Saturday, you'd hear about it from the locals on a Monday. But there was an honesty in it, and it seems like that's gone, because you can't criticize. If you criticize a player now, you're being negative, and if you're overly positive, that's not good either. But then there's people in between that kind of, give it the whole shit and this, that, and the other. So it's
all right. Okay, I know. I get your point. I know you're. I know. Yeah. Okay. Well, a point well made and understood. Mike Sheedy, go ahead. These keyboard warriors. What's your thoughts?
Oh, I'm Sheedy now, am I? Okay, anyway, never mind.
Oh, sorry, Mike Reedy. Sorry, Mike Reedy. Go on, sorry.
No, it's okay. I agree with what the lads have said. I go back. I mean, my history of rugby is fairly fucking ancient, as you all know. So I go back to the era. I go back to the era when it wasn't. It didn't happen. I mean, back before the 80s, 70s, and. You never spoke about. You never even fucking slagged off the opposition's players. Never mind your own. It was. I think the soccer attitude has crept into rugby now as well, and people think it's okay. Now I agree with what Dave said. However, there's nothing wrong with constructive criticism. If you have something genuine that you want to say, without being an absolute idiot and just make an outlandish statement that doesn't make any sense. Qualify your statement. If you have something to say about a player's performance, fair enough. Just make a constructive critique or whatever. But just making an off the cuff remark, and saying this guy is absolute shite or something like that. There's none of these guys shite, lads. There's not one player that's playing for Ireland currently that you could say is not good enough. You couldn't. They're all good enough, and you can have an off day. Anybody can have an off day, and there can be all sorts of reasons for that. I do. I mean, some of the people, and you think, oh God, it's embarrassing. By the way, it's actually embarrassing, some of the stuff that's written and comments made. But what do you do, lads? Everybody has access to social media and whatever. We are talking on social media, and it might sound a little bit disingenuous to disregard other people's opinions and stuff.
No, Mike.
If you
Mike,
I agree totally what Dave said about constructive criticism is maybe okay, but
Mike, that's what I was going to say, Mike, and to you all. The keyboard warriors, in my opinion, haven't a fucking clue about the game, how it's played, how it's coached, what the players do week in, week out, what the coaches do week in, week out. And I guarantee you, an awful lot of the keyboard warriors that come out with the one sentence, he was shite, whatever, have never played the game. And they are the exact same people you will find, and I said this last week, you will find in the Aviva watching Ireland play New Zealand or Australia or whatever it may be, or Leinster against Munster, Leinster against Connacht, whatever it may be. And their face will be in their phone, Instagram and their mates, and they haven't a fucking notion about the game itself. And as I said, they probably never played it and they know nothing about it. That's who the keyboard warriors are.
They only bought the ticket to have that picture on their Instagram.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Go on, John.
But it's sorry. The one I would say was so we're talking about. But it is important to the keyboard warrior. For every 10 comments, that let's say 9 constructive comments, it's that one harsh one, the one that says that's the one that's going to be amplified, because you're dealing as well with a generation of people on social media. If you're going to sit down and say, well, looking at the game objectively, so possibly Jamison Gibson Park wasn't quick enough to the breakdown. We see the problem, and you go, and people say, shit, not interested. Whereas if somebody says, yeah, I watched the game, Mac Hansen was shite, what the hell is he doing playing for Ireland? That's the one that's going to get magnified, and that's going to stick in people's minds.
Yeah,
unfortunately, that's that's the fact of the matter as well.
Exactly, John. Yeah.
Can I make a point as well that a lot of people, like, there was a guy who posted there during the week saying, where was Doris in the game? Because he didn't hear his name mentioned much by the commentators. Like, people have a tendency to regurgitate the opinions of the pundits as their own. And like we'd say most kind of people who know the game might disagree with your Matt Williams about a certain thing, but respect the opinion. And then if you, the thing that drives me nuts is if you challenge someone on their opinion, because they've nothing left in their arguments, they'll just say, "Oh, I'm entitled to my opinion." Yeah, yes. You are, but you're entitled to a fucking educated opinion as well.
Yes, exactly.
I'm not going to go to an engineer and, oh, my plumber said this, he knows more than you or whatever, Like, I mean, we want more people in this game. We want more people to understand the game. But just be honest with yourself. If you're new to it or you don't fully understand or you're regurgitating what Matt Williams and Shane Horgan and all these say, be honest about it. There's nothing wrong with it.
To make yourself look good online, Dave.
Yeah,
they know what they're talking. I know.
That really boils my blood that I'm entitled to my opinion.
Yeah. All right. Okay, gentlemen. Points well made by all. Thank you. Hold on. Just a few comments to get through. Sonia Croak. Good evening, Sonia. Evening, fellow rugby nerds, and agree with Dara re autumn internationals. Our good old pal Shirley Thornton. Holly is a great ref, so here's hoping it has its impact. Alan Dorman. It's very hard to justify 50 minutes without a score at test level. We were coasting in the first 30 minutes. We certainly were, Alan, yes. Dara Weston, here's a question for the panel. Who would lose if England played Wales at the moment? I mean, both coaches desperately want to lose and get fucked.
You have to say Wales.
All right,
Wales will get beaten by England.
Dara Weston again. Lads, over the period of success, we developed a superiority complex. Very true, Dara, yes. Which isn't normal for us Irish, and also attracted a lot of Wendy Ball fans who love the chance to have their beers and their seats. Keyboard warriors are to rugby supporters what James Grennan is to comedians.
That's harsh.
Your dad knows coming back.
And he's back number 3.
Dara, the keyboard warriors are the same people who complain about it being the same people in clubs getting tickets for all the matches. That's because the people getting tickets are the players and volunteers that keep the club going and so deserve the tickets. Very true, Dara, yes. Alan Dorman, I agree with James. Keyboard warriors don't analyse games. These people do feel entitled. Oh, hold on. Jesus Christ. Ger Brennan, meow pal. A tie or a yeah, evening, Mr. President. All my adult life, we were always in awe of the All Blacks because they were just so much better than everyone else. Now it's a disaster if we don't beat them by 10, and to compound a loss, we've the cheek to say the All Blacks are poor. For the same amount of time, Argentina were a team that always gave a great account of themselves for 60 minutes. Now they're playing a much higher standard more regularly and have developed more than one style of play and are a top side. Stop the penalties and sort that. Yes, very true, Ger. I agree with you there. Shirley Thornton. Keyboard warriors are scum. Hidden and thinking they know it all. No respect for any of the players on the pitch, both teams and countries. Vile bastards. Say what you mean, Shirley. Jesus, don't hold back.
Get off the fence, Shirley.
Get off the fence, Shirley. Yeah. They don't represent us. Yes, very true. Come out and say it to the players, coaches, to their faces. Yep, thought you wouldn't. The media, however, drive the abuse also. Give them print time. Gregor Galway, what's he doing? Congrats on the 200 episodes. Gregor, in fairness, I have to admit 200, that was a number I picked out of my head when myself and Danny Brosnan were trying to work out how many we'd done. So we settled on a number, and that's where that came from. But thank you, Gregor. It's a welcome comment. Dara Weston, here's a question for Aj Reed. Are these keyboard warriors mercenary fans coming in from other sports because of Irish rugby success? Okay. Right, okay, the next topic. John Peters, I want to come to you first on this. This is talking about our depth in our squad and the blooding of new players and all that sort of stuff. And I want to read to you, John, that was posted by Caelan O'Mulior. I'm going to murder his surname. But Caelan S. Ruppy, he's a Twitter account. He's very good. He knows his stuff. And now this highlights what we're talking about and what I want to talk about. Be the depth in squad and bloody new players. He says players used in 2020 so far: South Africa 52, Ireland 38. Right, number of new caps in 2024. Now this is very interesting. Just put a pull in. Where's it gone now? Hold on, I'm after losing it. 1 sec. Right, here we go. He says number of new caps in 2024 so far. France have used 16 new caps. Scotland 15, South Africa 12, New Zealand 10, England 8, Australia 7, Italy 6, and bottom of the list is our good ourselves. We've only used 4. Now that really, John and everyone, is not really a recipe for progressive, successive tournaments incoming. John, I'll let you take that.
The numbers speak for themselves. I mean, the only thing one hopes is that the emerging Ireland tour that is going to sort of bring through some players that they might use. I mean, I've very much of the opinion that we should write the Six Nations off for next year and to blood the players. The problem is obviously the IRFU. It's all about the financial side, and regrettably, sort of we need to be looking at players in the front row. Clarkson came on against Argentina, which is a step forward, but we need to find, we need to be there. Are obviously some guys when the emerging Ireland. I mean, to the point about France with the 16 caps, we don't have the same playing pool as France do. Similarly, we don't have the same playing pool as the English. So we need. So maybe a realistic is to look at sort of ourselves versus Australia, Scotland, and maybe Wales. So that's a more realistic barometer, I think. And then that is not too many. I can't remember what the number you said about Scotland and England there, or Scotland and Wales or Australia there. But it's not. They're not blooding as many players as we are. I think and New Zealand as well. We can't compare ourselves. I think we should be. Our playing pool is similar to Scotland and Australia and Wales in some sense. So we do need to. We do have.
Sorry, John. No Scotland. Sorry, John. Scotland had 15 new caps.
15. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, and we had 4.
There's a problem. There's a genuine problem that we're not trusting the players to bring them through, or it's a money game. The IRFU has said sort of that. I still believe we should have used the Autumn International blood players, and the Six Nations should be to use blood players. We should be at least 6 new caps should be in the Six Nations, because the Healys, the O'Mahanys, the Conor Murrays, they're not going to be around forever. We need to blood. Even Tyke Furlong is now a liability. How often has he been done there with a calf or hamstring? I think there's a fear to blood these players, and it's financial as well, because if we lose games, we're not going to get people coming through the turnstiles anymore. And regrettably, corporate Joes and all that sort of won't be shelling out 100, or none will be reluctant to pay 150 euros. So it's a balancing act. There's the money side of things, and I think there's the player side. That's the important thing. I think the other unions, obviously, they can do it. We need to sort of take a leap of faith and do it. Unfortunately, that's how I see it. It's financially and also a fear in some senses.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know exactly what you mean, John. Yeah, a good point and well made. James Grennan, your thoughts on this? The blooding of new players coming through, and the fact that we are bottom of the list. Scotland are more than 3 times the level we're at for blooding new players. Your thoughts on that?
So, a couple of things there. Well, Scotland are shite and they've nothing to lose, so they can afford to blood all the new players they want. And it's not going to make a huge lot of difference. All it can do is improve them. I was just thinking there. How long is Andy Farrell there now? Is he afraid to roll the dice a little bit? To John's point as well about the money coming through the gates. Like, if we're not winning, we're not earning. And do we risk not winning games, or do we the financial thing about the Six Nations, we focus on that the whole time because that's the big money spinner for us, rather than the 4-year cycle that Dara and the rest of us are afraid to talk about. That's not as big a money spinner as the Six Nations is for us. So there's, I'm just worried that Andy Farrell wants to hold on to his job for another couple of years and or another season or two, and doesn't want to rock the boat too much. I would hate to think that that's the case, but maybe it is.
All right. Okay. I think that there's a certain amount of, I think, loyalty that what you were just saying there, James. I think there's a certain amount of loyalty that Andy Farrell has to the likes of, and John, you touched on it, Peter O'Mahony and Conor Murray, the older guys. I think there is a bit of a hesitation. I don't understand it. I don't know why there is for Andy and John. You spoke about it, James. I don't know what the problem is with Andy to. Maybe it is financial. I don't know, but I don't know what the issue is with him. Blooding new players. I mean, there's Keane Prendergast, James Granite. Your Connacht man should be there. Izuchuku should be there. The Connacht scrum half, or Ulster, or Ben Murray should be there. Or Murphy, sorry, should be there. Murphy. There's a load of players that Farrell could have included in this squad, and why he didn't is beyond me. Now, that's not to say all these players might get a chance against Fiji, but against Australia, you can guarantee Andy Farrell will revert back to his tried and trusted. I don't understand. Anyway,
didn't we say at the start of the thing that what's he going to change for the Fiji game? Maybe 4 or 5 changes.
Yeah,
maybe those going to be new caps. Probably not.
Well, I'd say the only definite probably, James, is Sam Prendergast starting at 10.
Yeah.
I don't think he'll bench Sam. I think he'll start him. But anyway, we shall see. Dave Sheedy, your thoughts on all this?
Well, I wouldn't start Sam. I was listening to the rugby pod and they were just saying, and I think it was a fair point that he's still a bit light. So I think he's still a come off the bench type of guy. But look, before the World Cup, we were the envy of the world with all the strength and depth we had and this, that, and the other. And everyone's talking about it now because Conan's injured, Sheehan's injured, and maybe 1 or 2 others. Now we've completely collapsed or something. It's just the way people go on. Like, every squad Farrell has brought in people. Fair enough, he's slow, but I think Farrell's more about building an environment that people can come into and come out of. Like, he brought Dave Kilcoyne to the World Cup. Kilcoyne is, can barely compete at URC level, but yeah, he brought him to the World Cup. So that says to me that he wants to build an environment with the old and something that's a bit more kind of long-lasting, something that has a bit more strength. It's like what they always say, something that's built on time will outlast time. So I've no problem personally with his conservative approach, but I suppose when you dish out the figures there of the other nations that have blooded more players, it's kind of like it's a bit of a slap in the face. We've only 4, fair enough.
Totally, yeah.
And I can see John's point as well, like completely with that. But I'm not that worried personally. I think it's just going nice and smoothly. Like, I mean, what's the name?
But is it going smoothly, Dave? Is it going smoothly when we were beat by New Zealand and we struggled in the second 40 against Argentina, when realistically with that group of players, we shouldn't have. Now, I'm not taking away from Argentina, they're a bloody good team, but we should have a 1-score game against Argentina. Looking at the teams before that game, before a ball was kicked, you would say it would have been 2-3 score game to us. But for whatever reason, John touched on it, James Grennan kind of touched on it, Mike touched on it, we all touched on it. Like, what is it in the Irish psyche that we just can't put these teams away when we should be?
Yeah, but Pierre, you're speaking about the result there. Like, if there was 5 or 6 changes, we would have lost those games by more because we'd have inexperienced players on, So
but how do you know that? You don't know that.
We don't know that. But yeah, but speculation. But we don't know that we'd win Everton either. Just if you play your new players, like Everton's speculation because we won't know until it happens. But I do think that Fiji, there's going to be a couple of changes, like the lad said, and there should be, to give players a run. But like, you know, there's a good few of these players that are not getting regular time in the position with their club. Like, I'd be of the opinion that, you know, you're not just given a run out in an Ireland jersey because you're the new guy in the block, even though half the people are saying that. Oh, he's 21, put him in. Oh, he's 19, put him in. Like, you have to fucking earn it, man. And like, Heineken Cup is the level you earn it at. If you get picked for Heineken Cup, you're progressing well with your club, you get the Ireland call-up. That's the way I see it. I'm not just, I don't want to see lads throwing in just because they're at the age, you know?
No, I don't. No, I don't think they'd be thrown in because of their age. You got to be thrown in on merit. Sorry, go on, John.
Just for the coming back, I think the warning signs were already back in the Six Nations against England. England played when we played England at Twickenham. For me, the warning signs were there that team that needed freshening up. Forget about the environment. You know, players, you can see it there, and it's steady. You see a number of those players, they haven't put in a good performance. And it was when we went to South Africa, when the needs where he had to change things up, where players like Jamie Osborne were brought into the team, where there was a bit of a freshness brought into the team. You saw a better side. You see there, Calvin Nash, and now there, you know, look at it there. That loyalty that we're talking about. He has played Mac Hansen against Argentina and against New Zealand, and regrettably, he has not captured the form of 2 years ago prior to his injury. Whereas Calvin Nash is the better player. Yet, you know, so we're not playing him. So what are we going to do? Are we going to see him playing against Fiji at the weekend? And then, as what people say, we're going to try. The warning signs were there in the Six Nations that we need to change. You look at the team that Ireland have today, it's pretty much the same team that was in the 2023 World Cup. Every other major nation is undergoing a transformation and is surgery. Some of it is major. You look at England, they've got rid of the old guard. England's going to be a good team in a couple of years' time, even though they're losing. South Africa, they're building a squad of, as you say, God knows many players. We are this conservative nature of ours. We don't want it. It could be Andy doesn't want to rock the boat. It's finance. It's not. If a player is good enough, play him. Doesn't matter whether if he's you know, whatever province he's playing from. We are scared, unfortunately, and the warning signs were there early enough. We're not taking corrective action, and it's going to come back to haunt us by the time we get to World Cup.
Can I
okay. Hold on, Dave. I'll come back. Mike hasn't answered this.
Sorry,
Mike, go on. Your thoughts on this, Mike?
I agree with what the lads have said. I think it's born out of the fact that we've been a very successful team over the last two or three seasons, and people say, "Why would you change a winning team?" And the other teams we've spoken about there who have made changes haven't been successful. I mean, England have made fucking all sorts of changes and they've lost 5 games in a row. Wales, we won't even talk about Wales. Scotland have had no success at all for forever. And okay, they've made 15 changes. So they're tinkering. However, Ireland have won almost 3 under-20 championships, like Grand Slams in succession. Now we drew with England and we won all the other games in the last 26 nations, and very few of the players have come through from any of those teams. There's the odd one trickling through, but to only use 4 new players in a whole year is fucking. It is a concern. It is a concern, bearing in mind that like Cian Healy is 37 years of age and fucking on his last legs, and he can only play 5 or 6 minutes of a game. Like, if Andrew Porter goes down, Les, we're in fucking serious bother at Loosehead. And there are positions on the team that need to be addressed urgently, and that's one of them, Loosehead, and also Tighthead. Now, I read something today about the it's from the Irish scrum coach. What's his name? Irish scrum coach.
John
Fogarty, yeah. John Fogarty. He said that there's a massive emphasis now with all the provinces of props. Like, you know, they're training actual coaches to go to each province. There's going to be a scrum coach put in place in each province to try and improve the scrummaging and our props. And I think Cian Healy should be definitely fucking. He should be straight in as Leinster scrum coach, as soon as he retires. The man is like a legend and a phenomenon, and to lose him from the game would be criminal. So
right.
I think though it won't be changed for the Six Nations, no chance, because the Six Nations, like winning the Six Nations, you get paid, you actually win more financially than you do for winning the World Cup. So there's absolutely no way the team will be tinkered with if the best team will put out in every game to secure winning the Six Nations. The chance was in the autumn internationals. If they were going to make changes and tinker with players, that was the time to do it. And in fairness, lads, the way we have played, maybe it wouldn't have been a bad idea to freshen it up a little bit, because it is stale.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. And John, you said that at the outset earlier on. Excuse me. Okay, gentlemen, just before we go on to our next topic, just a few comments here. Dara Weston is selecting new caps and sticking to the same old squad this year a particular factor of the IRFU wanting good results for the 150th anniversary. Do we need to introduce a minimum number of new players to be brought into the squads during autumn internationals? Maybe so.
I don't think there's any minimum or maximum. Like the lads have said, you're either good enough or you're not. You shouldn't be brought in and given for fucking sake.
I agree with you. Yes, absolutely, Mike. Yes, Alan Dorman. I totally believe it's financial. That's what you're saying, John. And too short-sighted. Our forwards bench against the All Blacks told its own story. Okay, Gerard Brennan. Obviously, it's a results-driven game. Yes, but surely Farrell has enough credit with the IRFU to experiment. You would think so, Ger. Is it he works to protect the young guys and gradually integrate them, but 1 or 2 a year only gives you 6 or 8 every World Cup cycle? Good point, Ger. Dara Weston, if we want top quality props, the IRFU need to talk to Richard Holland about teaching the... Oh, God. Didn't I walk into that one? Okay. Right, before we go on to the games that are on next weekend...
Can I my 30 seconds?
Sorry, yeah, go on, Dave. Go on, yeah.
No, it's just, I do agree with what John said, but just when he said about the England game with the freshness, I personally feel what lost us that game was a lack of rugby experience, wisdom. And we did, and against the All Blacks. So I mean, freshness brings a certain energy into a group of players, and I'm fully on board with that. But I also think that you need that wisdom, and I think Ireland have been lacking that. It's a valid point. I've heard a lot of people make that point about the last Six Nations, but I just, the thing that drives me nuts is the minute a World Cup is over, the way people go on, it's just like, I'll clear out the whole team and get the new guys in and get them ready for 4 years. I'm not worried about the World Cup for another 2 years personally.
Yeah,
but I just think in those games that he highlighted, I think there's a lack of actual rugby smarts and wisdom more than fresh legs.
Yeah.
Okay. The next point. This we're not going to spend long on this. I just saw this on a Vox Pop. I think it was Off the Ball or one of them, and the question was asked. Now, gentlemen, fire it out, whatever you think. Is rugby still considered a posh sport? Go ahead. Anyone, shout out.
Well, I'll tell you, I lived in Limerick for years, guys, and Limerick was not a posh sport in Limerick. It was a working man's sport, and everyone, like I remember one of my first days, one of the guys we're working with, he was from, he was down near, South Hill direction. And he came up to me one day. He was working with me, sound guy, very nice chap, and he says to me, "I likes rugby." And I thought, yeah, that's the boy now that he's just brought up on the wrong side of the tracks there, but he fucking likes rugby. He likes rugby, and it's not in Limerick, and it's not in Connacht either. I don't know about Ulster and Munster, or Ulster and Leinster. I don't know.
The problem is now, James, now they likes hurling.
Well, D4
too, yeah.
It's D4 not considered a posh.
It is, but there's very few players. Well, sorry, that's a lie. There are a few players from D4, St. Michael's and Blackrock. But John Peters, go on, John Peters. It's a tongue in cheek. It's a bit flippant. Is rugby still considered a posh sport?
In Ireland, yes, it is. Whether we like it or not, it's a posh sport. I hear obviously what's saying about down in Limerick, so I think it's in Dublin, it's still a posh sport, whether we like it or not. Just the fact, and I think in Ulster, certain parts as well, it's a posh sport. Some of the big Belfast schools, it's posh.
That's Ewan McKenna.
Sorry?
I won't call him a journalist. It would be wrong to call him a journalist. I used to follow him on Twitter. I had to get rid of him. He was driving me nuts. He slaughtered the posh schools, the private schools, fucking sport. Rugby all the time, and he loved when Ireland. He loved when Ireland got beat, or if they got beaten. He was fucking embarrassing to listen to him. But he said the exact thing somebody's saying.
Okay,
it's unfortunate.
I couldn't consider myself posh, so
I know. I just wanted to try. I thought it was funny. I just saw this thing, this vox pop on the street. They were asking people on the street, men and women, is rugby a posh sport? And
but it clearly is, though. But when I first started coming on the bandwagon with Munster, it was always built. It's a working man's sport down there. But John Hayes was the only one in that team who didn't go to private school. It is whether we like it or not, it'll always remain a posh sport, but it's more accessible to people now since the successes of Munster and Leinster and Ulster and Connacht. I mean, there's a school in front of me here, and for PE now they're playing tag rugby all the fucking time, which is great to see.
But then you see what knocks your argument on the head, David. Then what knocks that is the price of replica jerseys and lifestyle, the price of Six Nations tickets. The prices of
but they're the same for other sports as well.
The price of buying a hot dog in the Aviva or a beer or whatever.
We're all pissed off about that. Whether you're
but the same for all sports.
No, it's not. You see, Mike, it's not the same for all sports because if you go
apparently the hurling match now is a fucking £100 for an All Ireland final ticket.
No,
so it is in Ireland. It's expensive in Ireland. I mean, like I said I went to a game in Stade Francais, Ireland Six Nations game, and it was €45 for a ticket. And it's £100 in Ireland for the same Six Nations cycle. So it is an expensive game in Ireland. And it's the same with soccer and all them. It's not cheap to go to games.
Everything is expensive in Ireland at the moment. Let's just put it down to that. Yeah. Everything is expensive. Okay. Right. Last point. This is true. I know. Last point I want to talk about before we go into predicting the score predictions for next weekend's games. The great Argentinian player Agustin Pichot, he was asked, how does the new World Rugby president Ross, I can't think of his name now, Ross Robinson. Ross Robinson. There you go. He's a Southern Hemisphere Australian. John, is he New Zealand?
He's Australian.
Australian. Agustin Pichot was speaking about how to make rugby more appealing to the younger people. Because at the moment, apparently, amongst rugby's global issues or problems, a lot of it is financial, but is to how to make it more appealing to younger people to join the sport, right? And Agustin Pichot said, the main problems with rugby and young people is, and I just wrote them down from his interview, is the time it takes to set and reset a scrum. It's boring. It's stop-start. The TMO reviews, again, stop-start. The line-outs kicking the ball out, it's all this stop-start shite. And then he said to the interviewer, Pichot, he said, rugby has 120 laws. Soccer has 11 or 12. And that flows the game. And young people just want continuous action. They hate this stop-start, off for review, yellow card, and then we're waiting, and then it starts again. Ball and play for rugby is about 32 minutes per game. It's way more than that in football. John Peters, how does World Rugby solve this issue, make it more appealing to the younger players? Does Agustin Pichot have a point?
He has a point, but if you start doing it, then you take the heart and soul out of rugby. The heart and soul is the scrums. You work on trying some. I know they're trying to make it more attractive with some of the new rule changes. I think the TMO thing, what they're saying, look, that's the same in rugby league. In Australia, it's the same down there when they play it. So the same situation you have that there. I don't think there's much more they can do with the rules to make it more and more scrums, unless you sort of say, well, look, if the scrum collapses after 2 times, right, we're going to uncontested scrum. So that means no pushing. But yeah, then it's, it's all, you get a bit more skill or something like that. The TMO side, I agree, that has to be done. But you have the same problem with VAR in soccer. How often in the last, what was that, European Championship, when the English referees in particular, they literally had a cup of tea and a cucumber sandwich. It took them that long to make a decision on an incident there. So I like what he's saying, but I think it is for the most part it's entertaining. I think it's a scrum that gets people as much, and I'd be one of those that you see it collapsing now and again. If you can change that, then you can make a little bit more. But again, if you're going to do it, you take the heart and soul out of it. That's part of what rugby is. Lineouts are what rugby is. You take those away, you do some. What have you got left then, guys?
So you're damned if you do, and you're damned if you don't, John.
Correct. Yeah, I've unfortunately. Yeah. I mean, you try what the way how you can appeal to it more is sort of is you try maybe more sevens tournaments to get people sort of interested. Promote that a bit more, perhaps. The World Series in more countries make that gets people excited to say, okay, we got that, and that maybe feeds into the 15th side again. But I can see that it's all well and good, but they'll tinker with a few rules. That's all they can do.
Okay, James Grennan, your thoughts on that, or anything else?
Yeah.
No, because I know you're involved. I know your daughter is a very good rugby player. Do you see any of these kind of things that he was talking about affecting your daughter's age group in watching the game or taking part in the game?
Well, she's just joined the Connacht under-16 squad, so she's just starting out, and no, there's no guarantee she'll ever get playing in a game or whatever. But she's with them, and she's got there. The scrums aren't contested at their age anyway. That's not really affecting her. But the scrums themselves, maybe after two collapses, if there's they should be doing uncontested as John said, or pinging the team that collapsed first. So that would encourage them not to collapse the scrum. So if you get a collapse and it's saying all right, it's gone down on this side or whatever, then just ping them for it. The TMO, I personally enjoy the TMO. I think it adds to the anticipation. Everyone thinks it's a try, and oh shit, no, it's oh Jesus, maybe it's not a try, and oh Jesus, is it or isn't it? And we're all watching it on the big screen, and we're looking at it, and we're all discussing it in the stands or on the telly, and you're on the IRB page, we're chatting about it. Oh, it's definitely a scrum, or it's not. I think I personally like that. But comparing it with soccer, the length of time the ball is in play, give me 32 minutes of ball in play versus 90 fucking years of fucking ball going up the field and down the field. And Jesus Christ, I can't fucking bear. I cannot watch
he nearly scored.
I fucking cannot watch it. And it ends 0-0 at the end of it all.
Yeah,
okay. What's the fucking point?
You're right. Absolutely.
But
okay.
I never scrummaged in my life. I don't know anything about it. I don't even know what's going on inside the scrum. But yeah, something has to change there. But don't take away the TMO, please.
No.
All right. Okay. Before I come to you, Mike Reedy, just a couple of comments just to get through, because people are kind enough to post them in. Dara Weston, do they have posh people in Limerick and Connacht? James Grennan. Schools rugby is still dominated by the grammar schools and private schools. Predominantly, even the Leinster squad, you can count on one hand the number of lads who came from the AIL and not a private school like Frawley. Okay.
Well, in Connacht they have, in Galway they have the Bish and the Jazz, and in Sligo they have the Grammar. So yeah, they're posh schools, all right. But all I know is as having coached underage and minis, that it's kids from all walks of life are coming in, and in Limerick, living in Limerick, it was a working man's sport. Absolutely was. So it wasn't as posh. Even though players may have gone to schools or whatever, it was the fans who enjoyed the game were not poshies, as you would say.
All right. Okay.
And I'm not
Thanks,
a poshie
James.
either.
No. I've been accused of one, but I'm not. Mike Sheedy, how you, Mike? Like last weekend, best game, All Blacks v France. They keep the ball in hand and win like Ireland. Few years working as a team. Niall Steins, I've got 2 tickets to Ireland v Italy and next year's Six Nations for less than 80 quid. Good man, Niall. Well done. Thanks for telling us. Alan Dorman, Keith Earls, Alan Quinlan, Marcus Hoare, Mick Galway, Eddie Halvey, etc. Dave.
No. Keith Earls went to Munchins. That's a private school. Alan Quinlan, I don't know. Marcus Horn's a good Clare man, and of course Mick Galway's a Kerry man. They don't know what a private school is in Kerry.
Yeah, gentlemen, you couldn't accuse Keith Earls being posh anyway.
No, definitely not. But he went to Munchins.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, gentlemen, as always, we are over time by 5 minutes. Not much this week. So we are win, lose, or draw for all the games that are happening next weekend. Mike Reedy, I'm going to come to you, and we do the usual. We run down through the games. I don't know what order. I think they're in the correct order, but anyway, we go through them. So win, lose, draw. Okay, Mike Reedy, the usual. France are entertaining Argentina.
France. Win.
Hold on. Let me open the page here because I have to take a record.
That's a spicy game, isn't it?
It is.
It's a spicy game.
Oh.
So you're going France, Mike, sorry, yeah? France.
Yeah.
Okay. Ireland entertaining Fiji.
Just I'd have to hope we beat Fiji anyway, lads, or we give up.
I don't think they've ever beaten us. I could be wrong.
No.
I don't think they've ever beaten us. Yeah. Okay, Mike. Wales, thoughts and prayers, are taking on South Africa.
You know, this is bonkers. Wales are 40-1. 40-1 to win a home match, like a tier 1 side. And South Africa are 1 to 750.
Where did you
So
see
you put
that?
on 7. I've done fucking Sky Sports bet.
Here's Dara now. Look, Dave is writing out his betting slip now. A fiver on fucking Wales.
No, because I saw someone posted it was 20-1. I thought that's a
Yeah,
really
it was 20-1, and then I looked about 2 hours later and was fucking out the parties.
Yeah, it should
Unbelievable.
Be
So you're going for South Africa, Mike? I take it.
Yeah, fuck yeah. They'll thoughts and prayers for Wales. That's all I can say, by the way. And
Okay, Mike. Italy are at home to New Zealand.
I think New Zealand will beat them. Italy have
Okay. Okay.
Hello, doggy. What's her name?
That's Hugo.
Oh, Hugo.
Good dog.
Okay. Mike, Scotland are at home to Australia.
That'll be fucking. I'll tell you one thing. That'll be interesting, by the way. I'm going to go with Scotland. I'm going to go with Scotland.
Really? Okay.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, and finally, Mike. Finally, one of these given games. Well, maybe. No, it is. England are playing Japan.
Well, if England get if unless Borthwick is genuinely wanting to be fucking sacked, you'd have to think England win that, lads. But Jesus, I wouldn't put an awful lot of fucking money on it either, to tell you the truth.
Right. Well, I'm not a gambling man, so I won't be putting money on anything. Okay, John Peters, same to you. Call your winners, losers, or if it's a draw. France v Argentina.
France to win.
Okay. Ireland v Fiji.
Ireland win.
Okay. Wales versus South Africa.
South Africa, unfortunately.
Yeah, okay. Italy at home to New Zealand.
New Zealand win.
Okay. Scotland v Australia.
I'm going to be with Mike and say, Mike, I think Scotland are going to surprise us and beat Australia on the weekend. I don't know why. I just think there's something positive going to win.
I can't see it happening, gentlemen. Okay, and last, John, England are playing Japan.
Regrettably, England win.
Okay. James Grennan, same to you. France v Argentina.
France.
Okay. Ireland against Fiji.
Ireland.
Okay. Wales against South Africa.
South Africa.
Okay. Italy against New Zealand.
Jesus, New Zealand, yeah.
Okay. Scotland against Australia.
Australia, I have to say Australia, lads. I think you're raving if you think Scotland are going to.
Australia will fucking hockey them. I don't know where you're getting Scotland from, gentlemen. Sorry, what?
England v Japan. England.
Okay.
Yeah.
Dave Sheedy, back to you, and we'll finish with you. France v Argentina.
Argentina are a bogey team for France, like, you know, but I will back France, but that's a lovely game, like, you know. I'll back France on that.
Okay. Ireland against Fiji.
You would hope Ireland, if they don't make too many changes.
Well, they better score.
If they bring in 10 new caps and then all of a sudden we get hockeyed, like, you know, you wouldn't know.
All I'd say is against a team like Fiji, we'd better score in the second half.
Yeah, true.
Wales against South Africa, Dave.
I can't bring myself to say the SA word. So.
Okay, fine. Okay, completely understandable. Italy are playing New Zealand.
I think Italy are going to do well for the first
10 seconds.
2 minutes.
40. I think they do well for the first 40, but you'd have to back New Zealand in that.
Okay. Scotland v Australia.
Like, Australia were nobody's last summer.
Yeah.
Now they're everybody's. But I will back Australia in that. I'm backing Australia.
Okay. And last but not least, England are entertaining Japan.
Eddie Jones back, huh? You kind of have. Will England finally get a win? You'd have to kind of think so.
Oh, sorry. But yeah, against Japan.
Yeah. England, yeah.
Okay. All on England. Okay, you're going for England. Okay.
Maybe the bet of the weekend might be, sir, the spread between Wales and South Africa is bigger than the spread of the Scotland, Australia, Ireland, Fiji, and England, Japan. That might be the bet. The bet of the weekend.
Paddy Power.
Here we are. Wales are plus 26 points at 10 to 11.
Jesus, they might as well be 100.
That's really sticking the knife into Welsh rugby, isn't it?
There's no bet there.
Okay,
that's
the harsh reality of it, Fred. That's the harsh reality of it.
I know. Our last comment, Wales are in a dark place at the moment. Our last comment there before we go, is anyone brave to call a Wales win over South? No.
Brave or stupid?
I know.
I was 1 from 6 in the first week. I was 6 from 6 last week, so we'll see where it goes this week.
Right. Okay. That's all we have time for, gentlemen and ladies and gentlemen who are watching tonight and indeed shared their thoughts and their questions. Thank you. We appreciate it. We do it in conjunction with you who take the time out to watch. So thank you very much. Also, my thanks are to Mike Reedy, John Peters, James Grennan, and Dave Sheedy. Gentlemen, we will do it all again next week until we change the format from Monday to Thursday, but you will get a lot of notice. You already had notice when that's going to happen. So my thank you, gentlemen, and enjoy your rest of the week.
Thanks, Mike.
Good luck.
James, Dave.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks, guys. Take care.